of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This conference will now be recorded.
Who's that? You call the roll there, big man?
I will. Mayor Pressgraves.
Here.
Mr. Vickers.
Here.
Mr. Doffelmar.
Here.
Mr. Shiro.
Here.
Mr. Lancaster.
Here.
Mr. Sowers.
Here.
And Ms. Pence.
Here.
I think everyone has your consent agenda in your package. You know you've read it. What you read? Mayor, I move we approve the following consent agenda. Minutes of the regular council meeting, March 9, 2020. Accounts payable checks totaling $269,026.91. And financial statements ending March 31st, 2020. Have a motion? Second. Discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Sowers.
Yes.
Ms. Pence.
Yes.
Mr. Vickers.
Yes.
Mr. Doffelmar.
Yes.
Mr. Shiro.
Yes.
Mr. Lancaster.
Yes. I don't think we had any citizens' comments from anybody who
No, sir. No one's in attendance, and no one provided any.
we're going around into action and discussion items. Mr. BB&T.
Yes, sir. This evening, the first item for council's consideration, BB&T, through no fault of their own, but an error on the part of Virginia Department of Taxation, made a mistake several years ago, and as a result of the state's mistake, the town, well, almost every jurisdiction in the Commonwealth that had a BB&T bank is having to reimburse for an overpayment on their taxes to the communities. Thankfully, ours is only $28,000 and change, and the BB&T has waived the requirement for interest on that amount. So both Jason's here electronically, and he'll speak from the heavens, and I'm available for any questions that y'all might have.
Do you know why it was listed as Page County versus Town of Luray?
We think it was an error because Mary did remember at that time that the check actually went to Page County, and it was the treasurer of Page County forwarded it to the town. I think since then it has been rectified, but at the time I think it was mainly because it was the BB&T out near the town limits, but it was still in the town, so there was simply a misrecording of whom the payment was to go to.
Would that be the same reason I noticed that Luray's not on this summary of refunds?
Yes, in the summary of refunds, it's listed as Page County, and we tried to highlight that. The $28,000 is actually the town of Luray, so that was why we weren't included in the initial communication.
Okay.
And unfortunately, when Page County was notified of the payment, they dutifully told the state to contact the town.
They wouldn't pay.
Unfortunately, no, sir.
So, Steve, how can that not have a fiscal impact? I mean, where are those funds coming from?
Well, where we're taking, they have already paid for this year, so we will be paying, effectively reimbursing them for a portion of what they paid us this year. Another option would have been to pull from fund balance, but Mary feels that it would be cleaner, and she has checked with the auditors if we pull it from what we've been paid this year.
So isn't that going to lower the amount of the franchise fee that we were expecting?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But we're already expecting some other impact to our revenues this year. So in that respect, what's $28,000 out of $80,000 in TOT money? Along those lines, we have cut back staff expenses as much as we can, capital and whatnot. So we're hoping that by the time we have a clearer picture of the revenue loss, we'll be able to equal it with expenditure decreases.
Any more questions for Steve?
Could we get a detailed list of some of that as far as capital expenditures that you're pushing off for the moment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we can do that.
Maybe at our work session or something, it'd be good to see just.
I wanted to talk about that, see what those. and this is probably not, let's go ahead and move on this, but in terms of revenue projections for the end of this year and any modification to revenue projections for the upcoming budget that we're considering. I mean, I think, I was looking at the year-to-date totals, you know, if this thing stays closed down, then you're looking at $300,000 in meals and TOT money. So it's pretty significant.
Yes, sir.
As well as thinking about a way to possibly prop up those businesses through reimbursement of TOT tax or meals tax that they pay moving forward. And I think we should discuss options to help support these businesses.
But we can talk about that outside of this agenda.
Mayor, I move that town council adopt the ordinance authorizing a partial tax refund for branch banking and trust company as presented.
I have a motion.
Seconded.
Have a second discussion. Mrs. Burke, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Pence?
Yes.
Mr. Vickers?
Yes.
Mr. Doppelmayr?
Yes.
Mr. Shiro?
Yes.
Mr. Lancaster?
Yes.
And Mr. Sowers?
Yes.
Emergency ordinance, continuity in the government.
Yes, sir. Town Attorney Jason Bodkins has drafted the ordinance that's presented to y'all. Effectively, what it does is it identifies the recognized COVID emergency that's ongoing nationwide and allows the town to then go forward with conducting remote meetings in the future and to allow for public input through either contacting the town via email or phone in advance of those meetings so that we can continue to provide you with public input when necessary, but it also allows the continuation of the governance of Luray during this outbreak. And I don't know, Jason, do you have any other things to add?
I don't. I would just add that this is something that you have ability to do this going forward, and also other bodies that are dependent on county councils, the planning commission and board of appeals. Nothing keeps you from proceeding as you have tonight if that council's wish to do such.
Anybody else got any questions?
One, so are we restricted to which type of technology we can use for that? I know you mentioned in one of your notes was GoToMeeting, I believe. Is that what we're going with?
Well, that's
Which is fine. But
we're using that tonight
That's what you're
to
using tonight?
pipe
Okay.
in
All right.
to Jason, and
Fantastic.
effectively what our plan as it stands right now, we are hopefully live streaming on Facebook so that people can watch us as the meeting occurs. Jason and other staff would be able to, and eventually council could also call in or use their webcams if they have that on their computer to participate via a GoToMeeting. Our plan is, if we go to that route of having the remote meetings, we would continue to broadcast the sound over Facebook Live, as well as be able to project the agenda item that is under discussion so that people would be able to see what is being considered. After the meeting, we'll go ahead and move the recording of this meeting to our YouTube channel, and then ultimately we'll be putting the minutes of this meeting on the town's website so that outside of physically being present in the meeting, the public will still have the ability to see what is going on in our meetings and read about any actions or discussions that town council takes during your meetings.
So after tonight, assuming these restrictions stay in place, we will be doing remote meetings entirely?
If council so desires. I think that's what Jason indicated. You now have with the adoption of this ordinance, you would have the option to have remote meetings. If for any reason after this meeting there is a reduction in any of the emergency orders issued by the governor and that would allow us to continue to meet in public, then we can continue to do that. But this is the ordinance that allows the council to decide whether to meet in a room or to meet remotely.
Yeah, Jason, what are some of your other jurisdictions doing? Are they meeting remotely, or are they meeting like we are, just restricting the public and streaming?
Did you hear that, Jason?
Only kind of put a bit of that. What's the question?
What are some of the other jurisdictions that you're representing? What are they doing? Are they going to just continue to meet and restrict the public, or are they all meeting remotely?
Most of the jurisdictions that we work for are going to entirely electronic meetings, at least for the month of April, including the public hearing for the budget.
Okay.
So how are they facilitating a public hearing in the truest sense with citizen comment period and that whole bit? Is that?
Well, again, the way that we're advertising it is that if anyone has comments about any of our future meetings or just general comments, if they would call in to the town office before 5 o'clock of the day of the meeting, or email them to us before 5 o'clock, we would then, at the portion of the public comment, we would read any of those comments that were provided so that they would have the ability to communicate to you any concerns that they might have.
Well, our doors are locked, they still come in.
Well, it's open tonight because we haven't enacted this.
We haven't.
If after this point, if council says that you're going to meet remotely, then the door would be locked.
Okay, Cass, what do you want to do with this ordinance? Well, I think we need to approve it. I'll move that the town council adopt emergency ordinance, continuity in the government of Luray, Virginia as presented. Have a motion? Second. Discussion? Steve, you call the roll, appreciate it.
Mr. Vickers,
Yes.
Mr. Doffenmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. Shiro,
Yes.
Mr. Lancaster,
Yes.
Mr. Sowers,
Yes.
and Ms. Pence.
Yes.
Ask Jason if he's got anything for the night.
Jason, do you have any comments for the night?
I don't have anything for tonight. I appreciate the chance to be with you all. I hope everyone's doing well.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
You too.
Thank you.
With that, keep your social distance and be safe. Mayor, could we just discuss the budget for a second?
Yes, sir.
before we adjourn? So the plan would be, are we going to have a work session?
Yes, sir. Our work session, tentatively, items on the agenda would be budget and then discussion of the proposals for the Imagination Station Playground. The review committee has presented a recommendation with trying to figure out all of this wonderful gadgetry. I haven't had a chance to review it. Brian has, and we believe that we'll be able to present y'all with their recommendation. We are also investigating options to extend the payment plan from a 7-year to a 10-year, anticipating that payment of that might be a consideration, or will be a consideration. But then the other item on the agenda would be budget, and we'll have hopefully a better handle on where we think the reductions in revenue will be for that work session.
I mean, I think that's something you probably going to have to revisit because, I mean, not only transit occupancy mills, but state revenues are, the governor is saying now that pretty much going to be some drastic reductions.
Yes,
in the
sir.
state. So I don't think it could be highway maintenance monies, a lot of different things that we get from the state.
Yeah, Brian's meeting has a teleconference with VDOT tomorrow regarding a couple of our ongoing road projects. We anticipate that those projects will be delayed, but we're awaiting that confirmation from
And
them.
also the remainder of this fiscal year, or, I mean, you've curtailed some of the spending.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, thanks. Anybody else got a comment? Meeting adjourned. Stay safe.